without insurance, I was going to pay $2,200 for my ER visit. But I was like, nah, I got insurance. We're going to have insurance pay for it. With insurance, because insurance ejectedly do that, I think I'm up to like $2,700.
Wow.
I'm like, well, that was kind of useless.
Yeah, we had a Christian health share instead of regular insurance, and we were
C-
supposed to. It's like
CHM?
it was Liberty.
Okay.
We were
I
supposed
didn't
to
know
pay
Liberty did that.
everything. Well, not Liberty College. It was just called Liberty Health Share, unaffiliated.
Okay. Well, I was thinking of Liberty debt consolidation, but
Yeah, it's called Liberty Health Share,
yeah.
and we're supposed to be. It's like a self pay, and we were going to the doctor, and then they were saying, "Oh no, you're good for this visit," and we're like, "Oh okay." And all of a sudden, 15 months later, we're getting these bills, and it's like, "But you told us we were good, and then we told you we were self pay." So it's like, what the heck's going on here? So now we're just asking for like an itemized bill to see if it was something that we already did pay, because we actually did pay other money already that was from like that same time. And we're wondering if they're double billing us and they didn't keep track.
Okay. Okay. You know what? This man here. Let's see. That's garbage. I have so much trash on my desk. Way too much for my own good.
Well, you know, my desk is completely spotless, so just don't ask me to turn my camera around and show you
No,
that.
for sure. For sure, for sure. That's money. I need to save that.
So,
Let's see.
Too old. You got on live as well?
I believe I am live.
Are you?
On what account?
It should be YouTube, right? Two Old Talks.
Because I don't see it being live unless
What?
I don't know how it works.
Oh, AOGY.
Driver, you know?
Even though I do think that he is AOG, he better be. Let me do this. I will let you know. Hey, Mario Party video. I gotta watch that later. Too Old Talks. I didn't even pop up your YouTube channel. That's wild.
I see the videos. I don't see live.
He's live.
I am live. I am live. So,
There we go.
did you find me?
Got it. I forgot to get rid of the like. Oh no, there's the like button. The dislike is where they don't count it.
You know what's funny about that is I literally on my gaming channel have people that are subscribed to my channel just to dislike every video I put up. Like I put
Are
up
they
a,
really?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I will have 7 to 10 dislikes on every video. if I have 30 views or 3,000 views.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. I got haters. I got haters.
Hate you because they ain't you.
They- My buddy who's former Marines, he's got Discord account and everything. He's got games he plays with friends. And his you can have you can set a mood for Discord or whatnot, just a message that everyone sees. It just says they hate us because they ain't us. And no, my buddy Marshall he did that so ironically. I'm just like, shut up, Marshall, you're an idiot.
All right, so we might as well get started. I don't if Zane's coming, he'll be late. That's fine. We love Zane. Later, early, or whatever. And Justin, I'm gonna message Justin, but I'm 99% sure that work is interfering with him being able to be here. So
It makes sense if he's West Coast.
Yeah, what a nerd being on the West Coast.
So anyone that's watching, I'm saving the VODs to
Too old,
this.
you're muted.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Got him.
Wow.
My bad.
Our world revolves around who? I'm kidding.
Jesus.
Yes, I like it.
Thank you. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, I'll just say I was saying to my stream for anyone that's watching that we are all these are recorded, so you can catch up. Like if you haven't tuned in till today, you can go back and watch the introduction. What week 1, week 2? This is week 3.
Check the VODs.
And I would hold up my little book that we're going through, but I left it at work because I was hoping somebody that needed it would find it, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I left the good book on my chair. Hold on. Right? So help me if you jump on me. I'm not even. No, stop it.
Oh, Tom's muted.
Yes, I was.
Kidding.
But
All right,
I'm so excited.
You
I'll
dang
just recap.
streamers.
I'll just recap up to this point. We're going through the book Tony Evans, The Kingdom Man. We're going through the small devotional, if anyone has it, that can actually hold it up, that doesn't have it on Kindle. I'm with the Kindle kids, aren't I?
You are.
Oh my goodness.
We have our books everywhere.
Where is Zilix when I need him? All right. It is a small leather-bound booklet about the size of my phone. Maybe a little bigger.
Hard copies are better. But it's the fact that whenever I want to read the book, I never have the book on me. That's why I go with the Kindle.
Kids. I'm kidding. Okay, so we are on day 5, which ironically is going to just slap me in the face right off the bat because it says a kingdom man is prepared, and I prepared well enough by leaving my books at work today. So, yeah. It's so distracting watching Tom talk to his stream because you're like, should I say he's muted or he's not muted? He's not talking to us. Wait, he's talking to his stream.
So I have a stream very quiet, so I can still hear it.
Oh, gotcha.
I know what's going on.
So today's topic is a kingdom man is prepared, and I believe Lenny, you've prepared a special voice to replace Zane today. Do you want to read day 5 for us?
Sure.
For 22 years, I've been making small regular deposits in this bank of experience, education, and training. And on January 15th, the balance was sufficient so that I could make a very large withdrawal. In January 2009, banks flew into the engines of U.S. Airways flight Mach 1549 immediately after the plane's takeoff from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Those engines simultaneously shut down. The only option was to ditch the plane in the Hudson River. Doing so without accruing fatalities was unlikely, even for a veteran pilot, flight instructor, and accident investigator like Captain Chesley B. Sullenberger III. Yet Sullenberger took charge of the room for which he was responsible. While passengers cried out for someone to bring order to the chaos, Sullenberger kept the plane just high enough to clear the George Washington Bridge and performed a perfect textbook ditching. All souls survived in a miracle on the Hudson. Captain Sullenberger had never guided an 80-ton piece of metal onto the water's surface, but he had learned aircraft maneuvering inside and out. His previous 19,000 hours of flight time had prepared him with the skills and mindset to rule the realm of his plane will, rather than his plane ruling him. Men, the mastery of your kingdom under God's authority demands wholehearted preparation. Some moments may appear uneventful, but each is an opportunity to administer order, authority, and provision to your domain. Each day, provide the choice to align your life under God's authority, to exercise and sharpen your leadership, to prepare. When chaos enters your kingdom, you will be ready.
All right, Lenny, I want to say I'm very confident that you modded your voice there, correct?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I thought. my
I-
chat goes, man, this guy sounds like Morgan Freeman.
uh,
I was like, yeah, I don't think this is his voice.
I don't think the grammar and the enunciation was as good either. Lenny, you're a much better reader than that. I can just tell.
Yeah,
You
I
better
tried.
be better.
So I like the book goes into this account a lot more. And I remember when this happened. I know I'm a little older than you guys, but I actually remember when this happened. And it was quite remarkable that Sully, everyone called him, landed that plane and everybody lived, because that should not have happened. So so the application to this is there's 3 questions. I actually had that up on my screen. I can put it back up there. Question 1 is, when has chaos taken you by surprise, and how will you be ready for it next time? And I will defer that statement to one of you two to start with the answer.
I'll take it. Let's see. All right, so when has chaos taken me by surprise? Actually, these whole past 3 weeks, my life's been kind of on a downward spiral. With the hills and valleys, but more going downwards. And there was a real breaking point for me on Saturday. It really set me off and really just cascaded everything. But it was mainly for the fact that just feeling alone and loneliness, because all my other friends, are married, and I don't have no one in my family's just torn to shreds. But it's a thing that comes and goes, but this one hit me worst. And one thing that really helped me is I really was destroyed, I'd say, last night, 2 days ago, and just actual sitting down and praying, being, as we were talking about last week, intentional. I said, you know what? He said, you know what, God, I'm gonna take this moment, and because it made me reflect on how much I relied on my friends to do stuff, and how a lot of what I was relying on my friends to, I should be relying more on God. And I decided, you know what? Today I'm gonna realize that I need to rely more on you and less on my friends. Like I'm gonna start pursuing ministry more seriously. I'm gonna start doing the stuff that I want to do for that and been putting off. And so it's nice because once you get into like, this isn't my first time going to situations like this, so I knew how to combat it. Granted, this is the most devastating it's hit, but to understand that I just had to, take things slow, take things in stride, and say, you know what, God's got me. I know this. I've obviously, I'm slipping in my relationship with God somewhere, and digging through it really helped me get through it. And it's gonna be the same thing for next time. I'm gonna hit a speed bump, and I gotta see where my relationship with God is struggling and correct it.
Surely. Yeah, I can really relate to the whole singleness thing and the whole, all your friends are this. Wait till you're older. Like wait till you're in your 50s and your friends have grandkids. That's when it starts getting real crazy. But no,
Hmm.
I definitely can see that. So did that situation take you by surprise? Like because I know the song Slow Fade is very true for me. Like one morning I'll just wake up and go, oh my goodness, I have gotten really far from where I want to
Yep.
be. Or was it more of like a shock? It just caught you off guard.
I would say there was I would say there's typically a downhill slope that I follow, and it's mainly because of a sin that I have in my life that I'm trying to fight and get rid of. And a few of my friends know what it is, and that's what my pastor has told me to keep it at a few friends, and tell everyone else to just pray for me in this general area. But I would say I know I'm on that downward slope because all of a sudden that sin that's in my life, it gets a lot harder to combat, and tend to fall into it a lot more. And then it just comes one day, and it's one thing I desperately pray for as well when I'm falling into this sin is, God, make this spirit you have given me tender to this sin, so that way, I'm not callous to it, and that I want to correct myself. And then all of a sudden Saturday, I was like, okay, you know what, it's time to get back on the up and up. And then just some words that my friend had said, I just put two and two together, and then that really just sent me crashing. And I'm like, okay, I would say it's a downward trend that I'm aware of, but it really takes a solid punch for me to actually do something about it.
Okay, yeah. So what about you, Lenny?
Um, I mean, I don't really have too much chaos in my life besides like work, I guess. Uh, yeah, I mean, one day this one of our so I work in IT for a law firm, and one day our main AD server that gives everybody access to our network was crapping out, and that was a surprise, and nobody was able to log in. And it took us like about 30 to 45 minutes to get it back up and running again. And that was a surprise, but I kind of just prayed on it, stayed calm, cool, and collected, and fought through it.
So, I mean, you kind of strike me as the very even keel guy. Am I wrong?
Oh, you're right. I'm
That
very mellow and very flatline.
that's good. I kind of envy that sometimes. I'm like that sometimes. But I can get rattled as well. Um, so for me, when I was reading this earlier this week, for me, I would say that, when you get in your, well, you're like, when you get in your 50s, a lot of things have shaken you and caught you by off guard. But the thing that I thought I would share for me, because I was a young Christian when it happened, and my walk with God wasn't real solid at the time, was uh, what I shared about my sister and the shotgun and everything in the initial meeting. That completely like blindsided me. And I can remember when that happened. I got the call. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I had to work. Um, I had to work the next day, and I almost felt like I was being inconvenienced, if that makes sense. If you know what I mean. And so when I finally got to the hospital and realized the severity of what had happened, I was even more shaken and shocked. And um, at that moment, it was, minute by minute, are they going to tell me that she's gone? And that feeling actually didn't leave for almost a month. So so that was a real earth shaking and soul shaking period of time. Um, but that was also, as I shared, a time for that started the healing and restoration of my whole family. So that just goes to prove that all things work together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose, not some things. So um, yeah, I was not in any way, shape, or form prepared for that. And I wasn't prepared as a man to handle what was going to happen with my dad and my parents. But God was there through the whole thing. And uh, I'm just thankful to him that, uh, so God has a way of, when he's trying to get through to you with something, with the chaos, allowing the chaos. I'm not sure that he always causes it, but he will allow it. If you look at the story of Job, God didn't cause any of that, but he allowed it. Um,
Mhm.
um, God has a way of getting your attention and forcing you to see certain things. And like I shared, watching my dad in that ICU waiting room minister to other families, that was good stuff. So the second question is, who is depending on you to come through when it counts? So we might as well go the same order. Sir Thomas.
So who is depending on me to come through when it counts? That's 6. I would say this is actually why, uh, as well as part of the contribution as to why I kind of hit the point that I did, is I feel like there are a lot of people, and you'd probably know this, Dan, for whenever someone works in the trades and they know you, they automatically feel like you want to do work for them. Like, hey, I got this side thing. Can you help me out with it?
No, I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah. And so I get a lot
How
of people
about mini split systems, Dan?
Yeah, exactly. What do you know about mini splits? What do you know? Need a new furnace, need a new AC. And
How many CFMs if I heat my attic?
yeah, heat the attic. But one of the big things, and luckily, it's they're still gracious when I tell them no. But there are some people who won't talk to me, a lick. They won't even. They just know who I am. That's about it. But they really don't want to talk to me until they need something. And I'd say, especially being in ministry, there's a lot of people who require stuff from me and who thinks I should be doing things a certain way. But it's honestly the people who I really care, who I care about, who need me, and who I want to be there for, is my pastor's family my dad and my sister whenever she gets back into contact with us, and along with a few friends, and that's about it. But it's there's a lot of people who want to depend on me for whatever, but they don't, take the time to actually care about me per se. That's not that's kind of answering two separate questions, one of which isn't on here, but um yeah, it's I would say definitely my pastor's family, just because I'm a ministry guy. I get it. I know what they go through, and a lot of people don't. And a few of my friends who I've grown up with almost my entire life.
Guess I'll go now.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I mean the easy answer, and I mean the true answer for me too, would be my wife, my son, and my team at work. Yeah, I want my wife to be able to, whenever she's feeling down or whenever she has anything that she wants to talk about, I want to be that ear that the listening ear for her. And my son that can't really do much on his own since he's 13 months. Want to be
Doesn't
able to
have a
help
job
him in
yet?
any way possible. Yeah, I know, right? Lazy.
I was gonna say 13 months. He's almost able to drive. What the heck?
Yeah,
Put that baby on the wheel. Let him see what he does. Give him a CDL. Make him a trucker.
there you go. Yeah, so and then my work team where they rely on me for whenever they're stuck on one of the help desk tickets, where I'll be able to help them with walking them through the process on figuring it out, or handling it myself if I have to, depending on the level of difficulty. I'm a man of few words. Sorry, Dan.
Well, that's all right.
It's like, man, I need to make this thing go for 2 hours. Come on, Lenny, keep it going, keep it going. I got a quota today. Come on.
Listen. Between Tom and I don't think we'll ever be hurting to fill up 2 hours of time. I think we're good.
That's true. I would agree.
So for me, at the top of my list right now is my mom and dad. I mean, they live here. They, if it weren't for the situation here, they would probably be in a home. So, that is a privilege and an honor that I have to be able to do that. It's not something that even 5 years ago or 10 years ago I probably would have been able to do. And so all of that is kind of part of the next question, which is how do you prepare? And I am not prepared, but I am preparing, if that makes sense. So I'm still on that journey. I would concur also with the employer and coworker thing that Lenny said, because I'm new at my job and I find myself, I'm on the other side of the desk now. So where I was the HVAC guy, and I was in charge of doing this and this, and I had to coordinate with other people. I was always frustrated at the project manager or the site superintendent that wanted us all to sign in every morning and wanted us to, keep our area clean and and so now I'm on the other side of the desk. So sometimes I find myself wanting to be everybody's buddy and torn between that and making sure that I'm doing the job for the company that I work for and for our customer, which I think I can say is, I mean, we do a lot of work for Verizon Wireless. And so if we are not maintaining those sites in a clean manner, in a safe manner, in a security manner, in the right way, then that can jeopardize future work. That can jeopardize even the guys that are frustrated with you because you want them to clean their feet off or get their tools out of them, whatever it might be. That can only benefit them long term too. So I'm learning to get my priorities where they need to be at work. And I shared that I have have been talking to a special someone. So I think at some point I would like for her and her family to be able to depend on me as well. But I'm not in that position yet. But
Mhm.
I think at this point I would like to be. We'll put that in the it's complicated category. But uh, so those are all things that I'm working towards being, and who is depending on me. Um, and I think that goes right along with the book. I mean, that's what a kingdom man should strive to be, is that umbrella, a pillar with an umbrella at the top.
Mhm.
I think that's what we should strive to be. So, and
Agreed.
I'll even add to that again, because this kind of crossed my mind, and that's our, Tom and I are streamers. Lenny, you've streamed. We have a community. We have people, and especially in the gaming world, we got people that are not believers at all. We have people that are I have people in my community that are atheists, and we've had some great conversations. And so uh from a kingdom standpoint, there's people's souls that could be depending on me, and I don't know if I like that, but that's true. All of us are in that position.
My viewer Matthias wanted to say hi to you guys. He said, "Can you say hi to the guy with the Sith white beard and the guy with the red shirt?"
Nice.
Yeah, I typed
Let
hello.
let the hate flow through.
But all right, now
Hi,
you're gonna get me on
Matthias. You
you're
look
gonna get me on
wonderful
a
tonight.
side rant here. But I just, you know what I hate is people saying you got to keep the workplace clean. Tell that to the doggone Sparkies, because holy cow, I don't think I've ever gone to a job site after a Sparky where there's just not wire insulation everywhere. But besides the point.
Well, and here's okay. So we'll just take a rabbit trail because we got to fill some time.
Yeah.
But okay. So the way our system works is there's three subs. There's a site sub slash general slash whatever. They're the carpenters, the site work, the asphalt, anything like that. And then you've got your Sparkies and you've got your HVAC guys. And then they have subs control people underneath, under their envelope. But set up the site contractor is responsible for keeping the job clean. But if the site contractor doesn't have any work that day, and the electrical contractor and the HVAC contractor is there, and they're demoing ductwork, and they're dragging old insulation across the floor, and everyone leaves before I catch it, guess who has to clean up the site? That's
You.
me. That's right. And that's part of being responsible and taking care of things that need taken care of, even if it is not on your list of things that you're supposed to do. It is the right thing to do, because if that site isn't clean, sure, you can say, well, so and so left it, and they're going to say, well, you're in charge of the site. So it's you just I have swept and mopped many a floor in the last couple of months, because the sites are active. They're not shut down. They're 100% up and running while we're working in them. So. Okay, Tom. Now that you have a mouthful, hopefully it's peanut butter crackers.
It's graham crackers with peanut butter.
Close.
You were right. You were
I
pretty
have-
much on the money.
I have ESPN.
I have ESPN. Yeah, I got peanut butter crackers to the side as well. Anyway, hit me with it.
So, how can you prepare or be better prepared today?
How can I be better prepared today? Well, one thing, and it's it's how, because God communicates to everyone in a different way. My big way is for peace of mind. I can tell when I'm not doing something right, is because I get anxious, I get frustrated. Like I've always talked about forever, for doing some just TikTok content about Christianity. Just basically what I want to do is just start off with the fundamentals. And the first thing I'm going to have out there is I have what is the Bible, and I got something laid out for that, and I got who is Jesus, and then I'll just do remarking on some world events or whatnot throughout the week. But the one thing I realized is that I've talked about doing this for probably 6-7 months, and I haven't even touched it. I probably written like a script or two and then just scrapped it. But today I had complete another peace of mind about what I had written, and the sole purpose for that, I firmly believe, is because I understood that I have to just completely rely on God now. Like I got to stop holding, as terrible as it is to say, my friends were an anchor for my faith. There was a safe spot for me. I could, no matter what happens, I know I could walk to said group of friends and we could just laugh, and then I could, try to drown that out as much as possible. Just like, drinking alcohol to drown out sorrows. That's how I pretty much treated my friends. If I felt bad, I knew I could go over there. Me, Marshall, my buddy Caleb T, we get each other laughing, no problem. And one thing I've realized is that moment where I'm now actually in this process of, learning to trust God over even those closest to me is really building me up. And I can tell it's making me more spirit filled and more God led, because like I said, this whole thing I want to do on TikTok, even though it's simple, right? The sad thing is that I analyze, I don't like watch YouTube or TikToks or Twitch for fun. I actually watch them, just analyze and see why do people have the following that they do. Like what makes them stand out? Why are they so different? And most of the time it's, original content, but I'm also looking at how they give the information, how, their cinematography is. And I was always
Don't look at any of my stuff then.
You got some sweet transitions.
And I was I always getting in my head about it, but now I'm at the point to where it's like I have a mental idea of what I want and what I feel like God is leading me to go towards. And for me to, have that reliance on God now rather than, just throwing something out there and hoping it sticks. It's just nice. So it's just, for me, that's been my whole life lesson for the past 4 days is, not just saying that I rely on God for everything, but, actually understanding what that means, because I'm definitely learning what that means right now and what kind of stuff I had blocking that. So just gaining my reliance on God, increasing in that. Obviously, Christian disciplines is always, the easy answer, but it's just one of those things, just building up my trust that I have in God rather than relying on my friends.
I was thinking, and I'll probably make this into a short for this channel at some point. I've stopped a couple of times on my way to work. I go over a mountain and there's a lot of S turns. It would be a lot of fun on a motorcycle. It's not unfun in a 5-speed Subaru. So, going up one way, when you're coming home, it's down, and there's a bunch of 15-mile-an-hour S turns and stuff. But there's one spot that, and I think one of the background is one of the pictures that I've taken on the way home, is the sunrise. The one, and it's on an S turn. You got to make sure that you're going faster than anybody behind you if you want a minute to take a photo. Not that I'm advocating speeding. Everyone, not advocating it. But so I got another sunrise picture the other day, and it just struck me that I have never once stopped there when it's pouring down rain, or when it's just cloudy and howling wind, or if it's later in the day and there's not this bright beautiful sunrise in the sky. But it's the same spot every day. No matter what the sky is, it's the same spot. And so it just kind of struck me that we're on this journey, and we're always ready to stop and take the picture when it's that sunrise. but that's the rare. So I want to be thankful for that spot on the journey, no matter what it is. If it's rain, if it's snow, and it's going to be snow coming up, and not really looking forward to that. But we really want to, we really want to be praised. We really want to get that picture of that beautiful sunrise. But every day is not like that, and we should be praising and thankful in all of that. I don't know where that tangent came from. What the
I don't know where that tangent came from either. I was about to go on to another one that was completely unapplicable to the situation at hand.
So my tangent shut your tangent down?
No, your tangent actually was going to inspire my tangent.
Oh,
Tangent
great.
opened up a new
Great.
tangent.
Yeah.
So you answered how you're going to. Let's let Lenny answer his prepare. I'll
Yep,
answer my
that's what I was
prepare,
gonna say.
and then you save that tangent. And before we go on to 6, we'll let you take your trip. All right.
Oh, okay, good.
Here's your 10-second break from tangents.
Mister, not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, for preparing, there's really not much for me to prepare for, for my circumstances. Well, the only thing really would be that I'm currently working on at work is creating knowledge base articles for my team. Basically, it's like a knowledge dump. So I'm transferring my knowledge to my team so that they don't have to keep asking me for help on things. They can just go to this portal and it'll be me, but in text form. So that's how I can prepare to help with the people that depend on me. Take it away, Dan.
I wish I had a cool saying like that. If I did a knowledge dump, it wouldn't take very long. So anyway, I'm going to use this a lot. I think I need to be intentional about preparation. And another thing that I think I'm pretty good at, but I need to keep focused on is making others my priority, because I'm not a father. I'm not a husband. I might be someday. So I want that practice in, I want to be prepared. And so, I find myself trying to, think about my parents if I'm out at the store, and then just little things, like picking something up for my mom or something like that I know she would like. Even in cooking, I know my dad doesn't like one certain thing, or, so maybe I'll make some one way and some another way, just for him, and not that, it would be easy, to say I'm the one cooking tough, you know what I mean? And that would be, that would cut my cooking time down. It would prep time down and all that stuff. But, I just think that, we talked about this in the beginning. Everyone's just of the opinion that men, if you're going to be a man, you're just this authoritative, domineering, whip cracking, and it could be further from the truth. It's a servant's heart that leads, in my opinion.
That's how it should be.
All right, Tangent Tom, when you're done talking to your stream, take it away.
So, okay. So this is, I don't know why it brought this up to my head, but you were just talking about how, it's almost winter time, and for some reason it just got brought up in my head. But so there's a streamer called Pastor Steven. He's a friend of mine. He's a pretty decent sized streamer. And I remember he does a testimony Thursday, and I've been with this guy since the beginning. So really, when it just comes down to, because he invites people onto his stream and he wants hear their testimony. But for me, we're just catching up. That's all it is. And so me and my buddy Eric were on, and we were just talking, and I remember his chats, especially Kaylee. Kaylee's just phenomenal. I love Kaylee, but they're always on me about getting into a relationship and whatnot. And so I forget what we were talking about. I forgot what got me on the whole topic with them. But they said, "You interested in anybody?" I was like, "No, not really." But there is one person that I do that I am. Let's just use the word enamored because that's the only word that pops into my head. But I'm enamored by. I'm want to know, but it's no one I know personally. This person lives in another state, and their way I found out who they were is via TikTok, and which is also why I'm like, yeah, no. But I remember we're going through, and she's a Christian content creator, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna tell you guys who it is, but if you get it, you know what? I'll tell you that you got it. And I kid you not, the very first, and it's the only person who's been with Steven longer than me is a guy that's called I Am Big Papa Christmas. That's his Twitch handle. And so he's the only one like I have respect for, because everyone else can bow down to my power in that in his stream. And I tell him that all the time, fear me, even though I'm just a VIP because I don't want mod. But he was going through, and the very first one he throws in there is that exact same person. He's like, wait, really? Because that's the only person that's a female on TikTok that I follow. And I was like, oh, and his entire chat went ballistic. And so now it's just a big joke. I don't know why it got popped into my head, but it popped into my head. It's just a funny moment.
Sure, Dr. Sigmund Freud would have an answer to all that.
Probably something about the id and the subconscious.
I inadvertently was typing the plus sign in my Discord chat because I was talking.
Yeah, push it out. Yep.
So I had someone in my chat said, and this was while you were talking, Tom. I was hoping it was while I was talking, but it wasn't. So this person said, this man is speaking facts at the moment. And he said, do you want to know what makes other people thrive? And he said, leading yourself into what maybe yourself is seeking in life. And I had to read that about 5 times before it really sunk in. But I think what this young man is saying, and I think it's true for a lot of men, me included, is we don't know what our sphere of influence is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know who we're supposed to lead. If you're a single guy, how are you supposed to be a good husband? Right?
True. It's kind of rough.
Right.
I just do whatever Lenny does.
Yeah. Yeah. Follow Lenny. He's got it. He don't even have a tough job. I mean, wait, no. Wait,
Yeah.
what? But no, I think at this young man, I know him. He's a part of my community. He's in his mid-20s. He's single. He's had some rough relationships. I can honestly say, I don't even know if he's still watching, but I'm not sure where his salvation lies. I'm glad he's popping in and out of this stream. But I can relate at 26, being pretty lost about what direction. And that does leave a man feeling empty and not sure where to go. So after I read that a few times, I was like, wow, that's a deep statement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think God, and I think that a growing relationship with God and really leaning into Him and learning about Jesus and Jesus's walk and what Jesus did, I think that really starts to give you roots. That starts to give you an anchor. That starts to give you those things that as a man we're looking for. We want to be a hero. We want to be looked up to. We want to be respected. We want to, that's all the things that makes us thrive. And when you don't feel like you have anyone in your life to do that for, it leaves you kind of, feeling like you're not quite the man that you want to be.
Yeah, I just want to do stuff and make people happy. That's all they want.
Yeah.
We want validation.
So that's what's funny about me, and luckily you guys have caught it a lot earlier in life than I did. But I started to look at places like my nephews and nieces and youngsters at church that looked up to me. I'm certainly not going to be a father figure, but man, I can be a positive influence for them for sure. Shall we move on to number 6? We have successfully shattered 1 hour of time.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks, Len.
Yeah,
bring
Lenny,
it.
you're really here for it. We appreciate you and everything you do. Really, really chowing down on the clock.
Hey, a good beef stew needs a little garlic in it or it ain't going to taste right, my friend. Am I right?
There's a joke in there. I'm just
Scared?
Nope.
All right. Maybe later I will appreciate your restraint.
That'll be in the Tom After Dark stream.
Yeah, after hours.
Okay, so I don't know, Lenny, do you want to read 6 in your normal voice?
Yeah, that sounds good. And I'll give us some extra time here. So, a kingdom man
I like it.
makes the right choice. Trying to fill time here. Sorry. Love cares more for others than for self. Love keeps going to the end. 1 Corinthians 13, 3-7. The Message. Some years ago, I heard a story about an eagle. It flew over a river one winter and noticed a large chunk of ice floating in the water. The eagle landed on the ice to relax for a minute. He had eagle eyes, so he could see a waterfall up ahead. He could hear the roar of the cascading torrent downstream. But he knew he had plenty of time to fly away. So he stayed. But as the eagle stood on the ice, his talons froze to it. As he spread his wings to fly away, he went nowhere. He was stuck. He had waited too long, and he plunged over the falls on his chunk of ice. As a man, you are a leader by position and function. You are ultimately responsible for those within your domain. You can lead those under your care to safety or drive them to harm. But to sit and wait passively is a choice for destruction. Joshua chose well and ruled well, and as he neared the end of his life, he reminded his people of their choice. Choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, he said. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24, verse 15. You must make the same choice every day. Ruling well is a lifelong skill forged through faithfulness and dedication. A kingdom man chooses daily to give his all to rule well.
Well done, Lenny. You get a gold star today, too. Tom got one earlier.
Yes.
Nice. We're meeting the quota. We're
Yes.
getting there.
Yes.
Oh, hi,
That's
Fred.
that's what it's all about. The check marks.
Yep.
We have to
Yeah,
have
that's
a
what the Bible
puppy.
preaches. That's what the Bible preaches for sure. Yeah, you just do this stuff and get the check mark. It's done.
Check it off. Mark it off.
Yep.
All right. Around the horn.
Reverse order now.
Reverse order. We can do that. We can do that.
So now starting with you, Dan.
All right. Oh, Lenny reads twice and now he's getting bossy. I like it.
I'll read the questions.
Oh, I like it.
Who is your house serving?
I can answer unequivocally for my house, and that is the Lord. I can't say that it's perfect serving. It's a serving in process and sanctification. But I know that my mom and dad are serving the Lord. I'm serving the Lord. And a lot of my family is serving the Lord outside of this house. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that I can say the Lord here.
Nice. You got my type of answer on this one.
So we went reverse order, which means you're still in the same spot. Like,
Yeah, I'm still monkey in the middle. And I can happily say, same with me. We are serving the Lord. Um, I'm very blessed that I met my wife actually in a young adult ministry at church, and we now are serving as leaders for that same group for the young. Well, so right now we changed up the setting. It used to be only for young singles, and then we helped lead it. That was kind of our way to be able to stay in, was by leading it, because since we became married, we kind of got the loophole there. Um, but now the church has changed the whole setting, so now it's just all young adults from 18 to like 40 or so, including marrieds and college age and singles and all that. And we actually helped to lead the married branch, my wife and I. And then we changed it over now everybody's in one big group again. So now we're just leading with that. And actually, there's talks of uh, moving another direction again. But we're just serving the Lord in any way that we can. And it's been a blessing. And having this study here with you fellow men has been great. I know I missed last week, but I really am happy, Dan, that you decided to start this and get to go forward from here.
glad I did too, because I one of the reasons I started it is I needed it. So I have to let Tangent Tom finish up his thoughts with his stream there.
Yeah, well, I just got followed by a guy called Read Psalm 22:16, Isaiah 53:5, which Isaiah 53:5 is an outstanding verse. It prophesizes Jesus' crucifixion. And I didn't realize that Psalms 22:16 was 3 lines, and I only read the first two, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And then as he resends it to me, I read it in the Bible again. I'm like, oh wait, no, he's talking about they pierce my hands and feet. Okay, nope, it's he's there with it. I was just confused. I wasn't reading the verse all the way through.
Well, tell Psalm 23:62 or whatever his name is. That's not on topic tonight.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kidding. Why would we talk about Jesus' crucifixion in a Bible study? Come on.
It doesn't make any sense.
I love that man.
Yeah,
Or woman. Sorry.
Isaiah 53:5 is actually one of my favorite verses. But actually, that's why I held up my Bible to the screen while one of y'all was talking, is because I was showing him. I was like, I actually have that verse highlighted. But anyway, okay. So we're gonna pull the what's the I know the question. I'm trying to think of the verse.
Yeah, Tom. We'll just go ahead and mark you down for not paying attention.
If you're not paying attention, do better next time. I'll give you C. Oh, what's the verse? Yeah, I want the verse. Joshua, whatever. It is 24:15. I second guess
It was
myself.
literally in the text of the day.
I was addressing the Big Bang Theory. Thank you.
Stream on your
yeah,
own time, mister. No, I'm kidding.
Joshua, yeah, 24:15, choosing for your household. I grew up now. My dad, I love him with every single bit. I actually he built a firm foundation for me. But he is in his older age has gotten a little bit more cantankerous. He felt like the church has betrayed him when my mom passed away, and so on and so forth. So it's been ups and downs, but his biblical knowledge is perfect. He's a big Zola Levitt fan. If you don't know who Zola Levitt is, he's a messianic Jew who does a bunch of stuff about what it's why the Jews are important for Christianity and stuff like that. But I would say definitely growing up that the household that I was raised in, and especially where I'm at now, is definitely serving God. Now I would say that my dad has probably fallen away a little bit. And that's just from years of hurt and pain. But me, I have been aside from, my personal testimony that I've been building up and just, the ups and downs that we go through in our faith, I would say definitely for me, I will die on the hill that Jesus is Lord, and I will serve under that declaration till the very day I die. There's no doubt in my mind. The Bible doesn't contradict itself. The physical evidence is there, and if Jesus is who he says he is, then which there's no way that he wasn't based on any of the evidence brought forward, then there will be a day where I will ultimately, and this is, bringing it to the hopeful side of it, where I will see my mom again, where I will see the people who I have lost along the way, the people, that I just haven't been in contact with anymore and stuff like that. I live for that day. I also live for the day where Jesus comes through and he just absolutely desecrates the false teachers and their principles and what they stand on. But that's a whole different side topic that is gonna get me in a tirade. But yeah, short answer, my house is serving Jesus 100%.
The good news about all those false teachers is that there's still salvation available for them, should they choose it. All right. Next question,
Question
Lenny, I
2.
guess.
Have you failed by failing to choose?
I'm first, aren't I?
You failed by
You,
failing
sir.
to choose.
I have that blank.
I was gonna say,
Because-
isn't that feels like one that if you answered, it's like one of those questions. Have you done this? If no, why?
Well, I mean, for me, if you want to list failings, we're going to feel a lot more than that.
Well,
Um,
yeah, it's true. Sinful
but
people.
I
By
think
nature.
specifically it's saying more have you failed by inaction. I think is what that's leaning to. And yeah, I mean, I yes. I don't I'm trying to think of specifics, but there's just a lot of them. I mean, I'm sure I did it today. I'm sure there was an opportunity to witness at some point today that I missed, that I, whether it was conscious or unconscious,
Mhm.
that in that
There's
choosing.
there's one thing that well, hold on. Matthias says goodnight. Just so you know, Matthias, Lenny is
Yeah.
reigns above. So that he did say goodnight to you.
Yeah. Good night,
He's told them,
Matthias.
he told them to say goodnight so they can have a good night.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have. I would have sat here all night till I heard from him.
But
Dan would have had a bad
He
day
sounds like a
about that.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cool guy.
So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, one thing, and it's even scary for me. Like, my big thing is I like to go out and I like to tell people about Jesus. I'm seeking evangelism. I want to see the church thrive, stuff of that nature. And even I remember one day I was at a Bible camp, and this still intimidates me to an extent. But we were discussing, and they said, if you ever pray, which we should be praying, is one of the main things we should be praying about, that God would give us somebody to witness to tomorrow. So if I'm praying before I go to bed, like, God, give me someone to witness to tomorrow. That person will come because God wants as many people to know about who he is as he can, right? And that was always a scary thing for me to say because, it's like, yeah, I want to surrender myself to God. But in instances like that, you start second guess yourself. Like, am I really ready for this? Like, can I really do this for somebody? Because my big thing is like, it's not the fact that, it's even someone new. I enjoy talking to new people. I love it. I can hard start conversations like nothing. But it's a lot of times when I preach, the reason I get nervous about it is because I'm like, is everything that I have to say correct? Which again that's me relying on me and my knowledge rather than relying on the direction that the Holy Spirit has laid out for me. But it's yeah, just one of those things that when you were talking about the sin of omission, pretty much commission being doing stuff, omission not doing stuff. And that's just one thing that's always crossed my mind talking about the sin of omission is, all the people that we could see we witness to, because God gives us, especially if we pray for it, he will give us blatantly someone to witness to. And it's just one thing that it's even intimidating for me, and I love talking to people.
It's interesting. At my job, sorry, I'm typing pluses in chat again. Just a second. I was at there's multiple projects going on where one of the jobs that I'm in charge of right now, and one of those projects we are not in control of. It's a whole separate contract. They're doing something totally different, and it's a small building, so these guys will come in and out, and the one day one guy come in by himself, and it was funny because he was not by any way, shape, or form a non-believer, but he was going through something, and for some reason I opened my mouth and started talking about God and Jesus, and this guy's face just lit up. And within about 20 minutes we were standing there, hands on each other's shoulders, praying in the job site. So um it's kind of cool sometimes how God gives you that encouragement to speak up, because not always is speaking up just for someone who is not saved or needs to hear the gospel. Sometimes it's a fellow brother in Christ that needs a whole lot of encouragement. So I think being sensitive to those things is always good.
That's oh, you said something that I was gonna. Oh yeah, yeah. So actually, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, because I talk about it with a lot of people. 'Cause it's my go-to story about talking about Jesus in the workplace. But the guy who trained me in HVAC, Mike Vanny, great guy, love him to death. Did I dox him? Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, it was my first day ever going into the
I'm
trades.
Googling him right now.
Oh, good. It was my first day going into the trades, right? I've never been in the trades before. This is my day one just in HVAC. Never done any other trade before this. And I remember, I was kind of nervous, but I was super amped because literally, like growing up, my entire thing of what I wanted to do with my life, because teachers always ask you elementary school, middle school, high school, like, oh, what job do you want to pursue? And I was a smart kid, and I feel like and my teachers definitely, I get to look in their facial expressions. I let them down because I was very smart for my age. Because my mom just did a great
And
job
humble,
raising me, educating
obviously.
me. Yeah, well,
Very
I
humble.
attribute that solely to my mom, is because when I got home, it was do your homework. Okay, what did you learn? And we just like went over flashcards. Like my multiplication, out of this world. But yeah, the humility is really there. But I
Quick, 7
remember
times 6.
42. The flashcards, multiplication flashcards, anything from 14 times 14 and below, I got that. It's ingrained in my head. But anyway, I remember I was amped to be working in the trades for the first time, but I was also nervous. But when I gone through my interview, they asked me like, "Oh, what are you passionate about?" Yeah, yeah, and I told them, I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus. That's like ultimately where every single passion I have lies, is in the church and in Jesus Christ. And so they did really well with pairing me up with the trainer that they gave me. Is because uh Mike is, it's showing me stuff like, okay, well, we need to get this. This is where you find this. This is where you go to get this. Hi, Freya. I know you got your toy in your mouth. This is where you go to get this, so on and so forth. And then it's the beginning of the day. We're all loaded up. I believe I got hired on in October, so it was kind of chilly out in the morning. And so he had his van going, and it was warming up. And I sit in there. The radio's on, but it's muted. And then he sits in the driver's seat, turns the radio on, and I see 89.3, which is my local radio station for Moody Bible Radio. And so I was like, oh, Moody Bible Radio. And Mike Benny will still tell a story, and still tell a story as this. He's like, and that's when I knew that you and I were gonna get along great. Is the moment that you picked up on that. And ever since then, I uh I still, even though Braid Vogue is they're a white shirt company, which I'm pretty sure Dan will know what I'm talking about when I say white shirt company. But what so they they're overpriced, but it's I still talk with Mike from that company. He still invites me to the worship nights at his church, and it's just just because we talked about Jesus on the first day, and it's a relationship that I've built, and he's when it comes to HVAC, I look up to him greatly because he has also God has blessed him within that trade.
I don't think you answered it because I think Tom jumped blind on that one.
I'm failing to choose to answer.
Played. Well played, Lenny. I like that. We're not going to let you get away with it though.
Oh man. Have you failed by failing to choose?
I guess that falls under like sin, right? Like you chose.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what they're saying.
That's what
I
it's like,
think if you look at the context of the writing,
God bless you.
Thank you.
If you read the start of
who
the
will you
second
Choose
chapter,
who will you serve?
no, if you as a man, you're
Yeah.
a leader by position and function. You're ultimately responsible for those within your domain. You can lead those under your care to safety or drive them to harm. But to sit and wait passively is a choice for destruction. And I think that's what this question is referencing. Have you ever been in a position where, you know, there was a good choice and a bad choice, but by making no choice, it ultimately was a bad choice because you didn't make a good choice?
Okay, so this is a okay, so there's more specific
We've
stories in there.
reignited Tangent Tom.
No,
No,
I'm not doing a
kidding.
tangent.
I'm kidding.
I'm clarifying the
kidding.
question.
I'm
Under
kidding.
your
It's
care,
yep. So it's not a matter of like who are you a Christian? Do you serve Jesus? It's not a matter of that. It's those day to day things that you come up in your life. Like where did you fall short on one decision that you could have made better? I'd say is a good way to phrase that question.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for me to fill that. There's not enough blank space for me to fill that out.
Well, if we're honest with ourselves every single day, we should have at least something new that we know that God needs to work on us more.
No, we're still not off the hook.
Oh, come on. Wait passively is a choice. I mean, sometimes, not recently, but back when I used to, at work, when I was actually focusing on, like, working on work tickets was my main part of my job. There were some times where I would let a ticket sit longer than it should have to let somebody else pick it up. And then nobody would pick it up. And then we kind of would all get in trouble for it. And it's kind of biting me in the butt now because my team's having that happen to me now. I have to get on their butts to get them to answer some tickets. But yeah, I guess that would be my answer. And there's my allotted 15 seconds I don't want to go over.
Well done. Well done. At least you answered it. The attempt to not to was very valiant. All right.
Take it away, Tom.
Yes, sir. So my big thing for me is college education. Now, me and my pastor, I made the announcement to my church that I was going to go into college. It was exactly 2 years ago because it was August 2nd, 2020. I made this announcement to my church. And so we made it a public declaration and whatnot. And the only reason I know it's August 2nd is we said, hey, by the way, it's Pastor Steve's birthday. And now Tom has an announcement about himself. And so I got to, overshadow my buddy T by saying, hey, guys, this is important. Anyway, but for me, it's definitely I don't know if my inability to work. I have very poor work ethic when it comes to college. Very poor work ethic. And the reason for it is, right, is because I've grown up in the church my entire life. My parents were able to somehow miraculously, with the little money they had, granted, I also think it was from Awana scholarships, are able to put me through a Bible camp for a few years of my life where I really made my faith concrete and through a bunch of stuff. But like, I've grown up in the church from middle school. No, it would have been for my somewhere going from eighth to ninth grade, because I think that put me in the high school grade for summer camp, is when my calling really got concrete to go into ministry. So, I was also, trained by pastors. I was taught things. People took a special interest in me. And so a lot of the stuff that I'm learning in college is stuff that I already know. And it's a real bummer for me because, it's like I'm paying. Luckily, it's not a government funded college. So the tuition cost is relatively low. It's only $6,600 for the entire degree, which is great. Which
That's
is
great.
33. Yeah.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm. And so it's still an accredited college. It's Louisiana Baptist University, but the uh the problem I'm running into is I lack that motivation because I'm not learning anything, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm paying all this money and I'm not getting anything out of it. And my pastor got my best interest at heart. And I know it's something that I got to pursue. Because my pastor I've joked around with his kids before, but I'm basically adopted into their family. So I know my pastor definitely wants what's best for me because I'm basically like his adopted son. But he said it's not the fact that I think you need a degree, because the way it works when you go into ministry is you get a college degree, or you technically don't need one to become a minister, but you get a college degree, and then after you get your college degree, you then go to your pastor, and your pastor then organizes a panel of like-minded people from the same denomination, right? Because you got to get ordained through your denomination, and they just sit there and they grill you on questions. Like, well, what do you think about this? Like, how'd you know about this? And you just go and go and go. And he's like, and he tells me, because I remember we were helping his daughter move into her new house, and he was saying it's not the fact that I think you need the education, because honestly, if we put you before that panel right now, I guarantee you pass with flying colors. But it's the fact that, and I say it's the politics of it all, but it's the education that's going to help me get into other places, to help me to speak at other places, because people are still going to want to see my degree. And so it's a lot easier, just because of the world we live in, to say like, hey, rather than just saying, hey, I'm a pastor. Or where'd you go to college? Oh, I didn't. I just got ordained through my denomination. Versus, hey, I'm a pastor. Okay, great. Where'd you go to college? Oh, I went to college here and I had this degree. Right. Which is the politics of it all. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. So I definitely lack in that. And it's definitely set the calling that God has for me behind, is the decision that I made to just be passive with my education. I really should be tackling it, because realistically, I've done it before. I can finish one class in a day. It takes me all but 4 hours to do a class. They say it's supposed to take 40. It's not the case, but I definitely fall short in that area, and it's definitely set me back.
So I have a question, and this is
Mhm.
just somebody that's listening and typing plus signs in my Discord chat again. My pastor tells the story. He got saved in his late mid 30s, 6 months ago. And he said that he was very unprepared for college at that age, and so he sat up front and he decided that he was paying for that. He was going to get every single thing out of it he could. And I just wonder if, because I understand what you're saying, because at the risk of sounding arrogant or whatever, I had a very high IQ in school, and I did very poor in school because school
Mhm.
wasn't hard.
Yep.
And I mean, you attach that to things, environment, home life, stuff like that. So it all accounted for things, but when I took the ASVAB to go into the Navy, I scored a 99% on it, and I was like graduated 102 out of 120. So it wasn't for lack of intelligence; it was lack of knowledge. So I just wonder if and maybe this is just an individual encouragement to you, Tom, from an older guy. Um, you're not going to get this opportunity back. And
Mhm.
so if you take that word intentional, instead of sitting down at that lesson going, how easy this is, let me see how fast I can breeze through it, be intentional to pick it apart and really dig in and see what you can glean out of it that might not be a surface thing. Because I can do that with a lot of things.
Mhm. And
Check the boxes, you know.
yep.
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not trying to
No,
judge or anything like that.
that's 100% it. Because there's always something, because I'm still learning from God's word, right? There's always something that I can learn, and that is definitely the case. It's just yeah, it's a lower degree. That's the only problem I have with it. Like if they had sent me in to get like a master's or a doctorate, I'd be challenged. But anything that's associates or undergrad is just eh. But yeah, it is something that I got. It's it's something I've been praying about recently. Like God changed our mindset because I am severely lacking in the all that.
I'm writing on my notepad to pray for you about that specific thing.
I would appreciate that because and it's one thing that I hate. And this is a problem that I one of the problems that I just have with the church as a whole, right? Is because like when there's a baby dedication or whatnot, you bring they bring that baby forward and then you dedicate it to the Lord. You dedicate it with the parents, and then the pastor then asks the church, "Well, you guys would be responsible and also helping raise this child up in righteousness and the instruction of the Lord." And everyone says yes. And the same thing happens, especially when you launch someone into ministry, because one of the first people that the devil is going to attack is the minister. Why? Because they're the leader of everything. They are following God's will, and they're then relaying that to the church. And I remember, standing up there and my pastor was talking to me and he asked that for my church, like, yeah, you guys, stand with them, gonna help them, so on and so forth. And I said, yeah, yeah. And I think in the past 2 years, I think I've only had two people ask me how college is going. I was like, that's rough. Yeah, people they just let it sit.
Well, I think funny that you mentioned about the baby dedications and stuff like that. Sometimes that's one of my hardest part about actually physically going to church is because being 54 years old and single, no kids, no wife, there is very little preaching or teaching directed at someone like me at church.
Yeah, it's true. You are definitely in the minority. Yep.
And if there is any singles activity, it's certainly not targeted for a
Yeah, it's
54-year-old
targeted to my
guy.
age group. Yeah.
Yeah. So get creative and and again, that's one of the things that I fall short on is going. It's so much easier just turning the online service on. Um, because I know if I walk in that church, if I'm going to sit beside somebody, they have to let me because
Yep.
I'm choosing to sit there. It's not like I have someone to sit with and someone to, you know what I mean? So it's hard. It is difficult. So
That's it's one thing I always joke around about because I'm always the friend that gets teased out of all the groups. It's just my personality, right? I grin. I don't really find anything offensive. I just kind of run with it. If it gets ever since my mom died, if it can get a laugh out of someone or make someone, just makes someone happy for a second, like I'm fine with it, 100%. And so a lot of times jokes are made at my expense, which I know they're all made in joking manner, so they're always fine. And my friends know, the ones who do it the most, they know my tells for when, hey, enough's enough. But I forget why I was going on this tangent. Oh yeah, so I remember why. And this mainly it's my pastor's family, my close friends, the ones I was talking about earlier, who I'd do anything for, and they always make fun of me. But they also know that I do a lot for the church, and so I've been just joking around with them, and I've been saying, "Oh, you guys are gonna so miss me when I'm gone," because they know like when I'm gone, like I'll still be a member of that church, but while I'm gone, I'm gonna be gone for months at a time, maybe even years at a time. So just a funny thing to mess with them.
It's funny you say that because I'm very much the same way. I'm good at joking around, but really good at joking at my own expense or taking a joke if it will uplift someone else's spirits. I'm good. Question is Lenny.
Question 3. What step will you take today toward consistent leadership?
Well, since Tom has found his stream more interesting than our Bible study again, I'll go ahead. um, because that is the word. That is the word that I think God's laid on my heart that I need to work on, being intentional in my study of the word. I'm pretty good with prayer time, but it can always be more. Um, and stuff like this, and that's interpersonal. That iron sharpens iron thing. Because I don't hide my Christianity. In fact, I'm really open about it. Um, when you're in a position of leadership, you're under an extra microscope. So,
Yep.
I need to be very intentional about how I handle situations, about my talk. Before I was a Christian, I was very, very, very quick-witted and very, um, you know, vulgar. I could come back with something that would just, if someone was picking on me, I could very quickly come back with something very cut right to the soul, nasty things, and those things don't go away. They still pop into your head, and so that's things. When those things happen, you need to take them captive, and you need to send them where they need to go. So that's some things that again, that word intentional is going to pop up almost everything
Yep.
we talk about for me,
I'm
because
telling you, I need to
huge.
I need to get a following so I can start making shirts, because I have a great shirt idea for the word intentional.
Just make it. I'll buy one right now.
Oh, good.
Wait a minute. I'll tell you what. I'll buy 3. I'll buy one for me, one for my mom, and one for my dad. There, make them.
So
Oh,
don't
he's selling
spring-
shirts. He's not answering a question. I see how we're at now.
What? I saw.
Don't make me flip these tables over at the tabernacle, pal.
This man's gonna be driving me out with a bullwhip.
All right, so now it's my 20 seconds of fame here.
Yes, sir.
So once again, another boring answer, because I do have consistent leadership in pretty much all areas of my life. But one thing I can
Excessive
improve, though-
humility, also. I like it.
yes, but
He's the
I'm
best at
very,
being humble, for sure.
very humble as well. But one thing that I can work better on is, as you were saying too, is the intentionality of bringing Christ, like allowing Christ to shine through my leadership at work. Like it shines at church. I need to let it shine brighter at work. They'll know that I am a Christian, but I want them to be reminded daily of that through my leadership.
And then mine is a moth. Anyway, there's a moth hovering. It's flying right over Dan's head right now. Anyway, so but my thing is definitely, and it's it's one of those things that comes in hills and valleys. Is definitely for me prayer. I have talked about it before. I'm definitely a firm believer in prayer. Prayer does work. It helps you see what God's doing in your life, helps you communicate with God your needs, even though He already knows what you needs. Just like just like a kid and their parents, you know what the kid needs, but you want the kid to tell you what they need. But mine is definitely because it comes in hills and valleys, right? Because just like anything else that's Christian discipline, it's you're brought to your knees one day because you realize you're really messing up and you really commit yourself to it for the next few days. But like for example, prayer, like my life was definitely more peaceful when I, had prayers for meals that were not just thank you for this food, bless food in my body, and bless the rest of my work day. In your name, I pray, Amen. But actually, taking a couple minutes to, actually expressing what I needed from God. But you get into it's one of those things you just take for granted, and you get into it, and next thing you know, you're just back into back into the rut that you were trying to get out of to begin with. Like just oh, you know what? I've really just got to eat this food real quick and get back to work. So I'm just gonna say a prayer to God. And that's gonna be the one time. One time I'll do this and I'll get right back to it the next day. And it never works out that way, right? It's once you take the easy road once, it's super easy to fall back into it. But definitely for me right now, it is prayer. One of my worst things, and I've actually started I don't think I talked about this last week because I'm pretty sure it was a new idea I was coming up with. But I've actually started keeping a prayer journal, and I'm just writing it. Oh, you can see the moth on my webcam. Hello. But it helps me, actually take a second and to really look at what's going on around me and to see what God's doing in my life, because I can definitely talk a lot faster than I write. But if I write it all out, and it doesn't have to be, exactly how I'd say it, just be something that just comes into my mind, it causes me to reflect on it. Like honestly, the whole for me coming out of that downward spiral that I was in this week is literally just me starting my prayer journal yesterday. I didn't get far into it. And then I got frustrated because my pen was running out of ink. And I woke up today and I've just felt, a happier spirit. I was much more peaceable. I was a lot less frustrated and anxious. But losing out on that prayer and taking advantage of it, especially when you need it most, really is something that I need to better myself in. That way I can communicate with the Lord and excel in what God wants me to excel in. So that way I can be the leader He has called me to be.
I just made on my notepad a little, because I just kind of felt led to do this. Um, we're doing this Bible study together, and I have a feeling the three of us are the core. I hope Zane comes back. I'm sure Justin will if he gets a chance. And I'm not going to close the door to anybody that wants us to join us.
Mm-hmm.
They can catch up with the VODs and hop right in here whenever. I don't want to get any bigger than 5. I think 5 was kind of a sweet spot there for
I would agree.
things. But I just wrote down a little chart here with all of our names on it. And as you say things that you feel like you could use prayer for, it's going on my prayer list for this group. Because I think, this is good. We've got many weeks ahead of us. I guarantee you that as this starts to work in our lives, that the devil's not going to like it. And so stuff's going to come up, whether it's sickness, whether it's, whatever. And I just want to pray against that. And I want to make you two specifically a target for my iron, if that makes sense. And
Yep.
that will be my prayer time will be focused for specific things for the two of you. So I wrote down for Lenny, I wrote down leadership at work. Is that a fair thing? And
Yes.
then for Tom, I wrote down um, to pray for more excitement in your schoolwork,
That'd be one. Yeah.
and that your prayer time would be intentional.
Yeah. I would say those are two big ones. Two of the lot of big ones that I have. One thing I also realized is, especially my friends, but for whatever reason, American culture has just, kind of adopted this whole thing. Someone asks like, how are you doing? You're just always gonna say good. Sometimes you might say all right, depending on how close you are to the person. And you're always left, in a stump when someone says I'm doing terrible or I'm doing bad. You just don't know what to say after that because you were just expecting them to say good. One thing I realized, because even my closest friends, I can ask them how they're doing, they're still gonna tell me good, even if they're not doing well. But one thing, and it's something I got to get back into the motion of because I actually did enjoy it when I did it, is people always say, I'm doing good even if they're doing poorly. But especially if this person's a Christian and you say, okay, well, how can I pray for you? That opens up a whole new avenue. And my buddy T, who's the associate pastor of my church, because uh, and just like any other person here would, you say, well, what can I pray for you? Oh, well, you can pray for my family. We're going through this. And I remember there was one time, and I had it all scripted out in my head. I knew exactly what I was going to say because I knew what his answer was going to be. It was going to be for his daughter and his wife because they just had a baby girl and she was in the hospital, and his wife was still recovering from the pains of childbirth, so on and so forth. And I was talking to him about that. I was like, how can I pray for you? He brings that up. I was like, yeah, that's great and all. Believe me, I'll pray for it. But how can I pray for you specifically? And the moment I said for you, he kind of let out a nervous chuckle because at that moment he realized that I actually wanted to know how I could pray for him and just not saying that so that, I could just get a prayer out of him. It's very great. Like I even had you can even ask your bosses, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. And there's one time I went up to one of my bosses and great guy, great Christian guy. And instead of saying, how you doing? I said, how can I pray for you today? I'm trying to make this some better habit in my life is asking people this. And because he knows the person I am, he knows my character, he knows that I want to go to ministry, he was comfortable sharing with me that him and his wife were in a rough patch. And I was the only person in the entire workplace, except maybe his son, because his son works with me as well. Not entirely sure, but I'm the only person in that entire workplace that would know about that. Just small things. Just instead of saying, how are you? How can I pray for you? Just really show someone that you care about. And even if they don't believe, just show someone that you care about and you actually want to know what's going on in their life. Great
Well,
little motivator.
yeah, I will share this. We talked about the atheist friend that I have in my community, and he's in and out. We have a really good relationship, and I won't share any names or anything. I'm hoping someday maybe he watches this, but I would go back and read some of it, but it's not. I got a private message from him one day, and it was just, hey, I haven't been around, and this is why. And he went to explain, and then he said, you know where I stand, and that I don't believe in God and prayer. But if there's any way that stuff works, would you pray for this? And he just let it out. And it was, he lost his dad eventually. His dad was, but there was through that time, and I try not to get emotional about stuff like this, but there's those things, those moments with people like him, and if he ever gets saved, I don't know. But I know that the way that I live my life, even online and gaming, led him to trust me and know that when he asked me to do something that even he didn't believe in, because he's grasping at that whatever hope there might be, that he felt that he could come to me. And I want more of that for me in my life. I want people around me to be able to go, I know I can go to that guy and trust that he's there for me.
Yep. And there's I always say, well, I always tell myself, that this whole streaming thing that I do, I know it'll never, I don't care if I make millions of dollars, it'll never be a full-time thing. Um, but I just always tell myself, that this is something that I am doing for God. It doesn't take the place of my ministry. Definitely does not take the place of my actual full-time career at the moment, because, I mean, popularity is always a fad, right? So it doesn't make sense to pursue this full-time, and then all of a sudden for me to just not be, worth watching in 2 or 3 years. But I remember it's one thing I always pray for my stream is God to give me one person who I could witness to, or at least, just have me be able to work you in a conversation somewhere. And I've had one guy in my chat for named Shrimp Tea Magic, who is a 14-year-old from New York, who followed me because I was playing zombies, and was always talked about how he hated Christianity and whatnot. And then one day, me and my buddy T, who ironically associate pastor of the church, as I talked about before, he just started asking me, and he was trying to go under the guise, this is going to look great for my history stuff. And then one day he actually came to me and said, like, hey, I'm thinking about checking out a church. Sadly, it's hard to find a good church in New York, and he can't drive. He's 14 years old, and his mother is Jewish and his dad is Roman Catholic, and neither of them mom doesn't go to temple, dad doesn't go to, their mass service. And they were very much so against him going. But luckily they did let him go. Sadly, it's a prosperity gospel church. I don't know if he's still going to there. He hasn't been in my chat for a while. Granted, he's also a kid on summer vacation, so who knows. But I also have, and I'm pretty sure Lenny's seen it, there's this kid in my chat right now, Matthias, who is from Denmark. And that's who I was mainly talking to every time I'm muted, is because he's talking about, I believe in 75% science, and 25% is whatever else. And he's talking about he said Norse mythology, because he's Danish, it's heavy Norse mythology over there, and Kristen is, which I don't know if that's meant to be Christendom or what, but we were talking and just discussing back and forth, and I'd say, oh, why do you believe in this? And he'd bring up a point, and I'd state my point and say, oh, well, this is why I believe this over this. And there was one thing it gave me a little bit of a spirit of joy, it gave me a little boost during the stream, is because he said, I don't know what it is, but for some reason I want to stay and listen to what you guys have to say. And I was like, oh, that means that the spirit's gonna be used for something here. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm excited. But just to hear him say, I don't know what it is, but I'm drawn to what you guys are talking about, is just made me happy.
Awesome. And that, that's one thing I love about YouTube. This channel. 10 years from now, somebody could come across it and watch our introduction thing, and something could click, and next thing you know what I mean? That's just I'm sure Satan's intent for all of this is not good, but God will use it for him. That does me good to hear too, that the nudging that I kept getting to do this, that I kept putting it off, that Matthias might be the only reason that we're doing this. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Might be.
Yep.
Matthias Billy Graham in 10 years.
Matthias, because I would lose my absolute mind.
But and again, we talk about all this stuff, and how can you prepare, and who's depending on you, and all of these things that we're studying about. You don't know. You don't know who, and you may not ever know till glory.
Yep.
Some guy come up to you, hey, do you remember me? Not a chance. but there you are.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
it's so Phil and Jason, Al and Willie and all of them from Duck Dynasty, those boys, they Phil, Al, and Jace's podcast, Unashamed podcast, Jace came up with something called a DED list. Don't ever do. And one of them is people will walk. I don't know why people think this way, but they do. Is they will walk up to, Phil or Jace or Al and they'll say, "Hey, do you remember me?" Because, they preached a message and that message then got them saved and they got baptized because of these people. He's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And in my head, it's just maybe I just think of things differently. Maybe it's that whole academic side of me. But I'm like, they speak to millions of people a year. And they see thousands of lives change a year. And Al, Phil, and Jason have all said, after you tell people like, nah, not really, after a few times and they kind of get upset with you, they kind of just realize, it's probably just best to say, "Hi, you look familiar." And I thought about that. I was like, that's probably what I'm gonna, if Lord willing, I get a platform like that or something like that. It's what I'm gonna end up doing because it just makes the most sense. But I'm in my head, I'm just kind of like, it's. I mean, it's not to be rude to those people, but like, why would you stand out of all the millions of people? But that's
On a
just a
much
side
smaller
topic.
on a much smaller scale, even as a streamer, that happens. People
Yep.
gain a familiarity with you and a connection that I've had people come on my stream that haven't been in there for 3 years and like, "Hey, how have you been?" And you have like, you look at the username and you're like, "I have no idea who you are." You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then there's that awkward. Did you? This is my favorite. Did you change your Twitch name or something? Because I don't recognize it.
Yeah. I have a guy who comes in who is part of, Dan, you joined in after this, but I was part of an esports league named Indivisible, which was started by Trevor, Redfire X Trevor. And then we merged with AOG and then you came on shortly after that. But there's a guy who is one of Trevor's viewers. Became one of my viewers, and his name was Warmth Season. And I still call him Warmth, but he he got his account locked. And he joins my chat as Sun LOL 2R2. He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I had to make a new account because my Twitch locked me out." And then he comes into my chat again because that account got locked out. He's like, "By the way, this is Warmth, just so you know." Just the funniest exchange.
I think 2 a week is a good thing. I feel like
I would agree.
we
Yeah,
we
especially
did.
if I'm here, I'll just run us over.
For
Otherwise,
Yeah,
sure.
we
Yeah, it's
well, I'm gonna start sending you some NyQuil before have you just maybe
NyQuil, Benadryl, whatever
smooth
it takes to calm you down.
smooth you out a little bit.
so
But
I added a Discord channel, private prayer board that has just the three of us in it. We can put in our
Oh, that'd be
weekly
nice.
weekly prayers that we're doing for the
Oh, it is a locked channel.
yeah.
Okay. I, I just read I thought for whatever reason the thing you typed in afterwards like the roles, and so I saw like leadership, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I saw mine. I saw excitement and schoolwork. I was like, how does that apply to me? Oh wait, the prayer request. That's right. That's what that is. I was so confused. Oh, that's funny.
thanks, Lenny. I'm typing pluses in it right now.
I see that.
Be an old person and try to exist in a young person's world.
That's the one thing I hate about my foot pedals. You accidentally are on an app where you can have to type stuff out, and you type the foot pedal, and you just hear. Brrr. You're like, what the heck is going on?
My favorite was when I had the sticky keys thing on. So
Oh, you had sticky
yeah,
keys. How did you play games with sticky keys?
but I didn't know. Like you accidentally turn it on and off. Dude, I'm old. You should watch my gaming streams. You will howl. You will howl. I have a clip.
He's too old to game.
I have a clip where like I made these amazing rush to a site, and I turn around to drop a smoke, so I can plant the bomb, and I have the wrong grenade out, and I grenade myself. That just happened. I jump off the map in Apex. It's just It's just old people stuff. It's all part of the content.
For sure, for sure, for sure. It's the brand. It's the brand.
It's the brand. It's true. It's true. Nobody's too old to game. Want to bet? Anyway, why don't we close it out? Anyone want to pray? Anyone feeling led to pray?
Well, Dan, it sounded like earlier you were feeling led to pray. You said you wanted to work.
At what,
You
at
did
what,
say
at
you
what
wanted to
point
work
was
on your
that?
prayer. You said
Well,
you wanted to work on
actually,
your prayer
actually, I
life, you
said my prayer life's pretty good. It was Tom that said that he wanted to work on his prayer life. But I will pray because Tom can mock me for feeling holier than other people by saying that I'll pray.
Holier than thou.
Anyway, I got to take my hat off. I love you, Dad. Dear Heavenly Father, I just come to you with my two friends, Lenny and Tom, and I'm just humbled by this little group of men and what you're already doing in and around us and with our communities and our scope of influence that we have, that you're already there and you're already working, and I thank you for those little glimpses of confirmation that this is what we should be doing, and I pray that you would be with Lenny in his work, that his Christianity and Christ would shine through his leadership, and people would look at him and ask him what's different about you. And I pray for Tom and his studies that he would just look at that as an opportunity to just really dig into your word and not look at it like a grade he's trying to get, but really look at it as time with you and honoring you in that, and that he would continue and be steadfast and intentional with his prayer journal, that would help maybe keep the valleys from being so deep and maybe them further and further apart. I thank you for the work that you're doing in my life. I pray that you would just keep after me to be intentional, to study your word, and to get deeper and deeper in prayer, so that just like Lenny, no matter where I go and what I'm doing, people notice that it's your light, not mine. I just thank you for the time that we have. I thank you that we live in a country that allows us to do this, and that the opportunity is there for people to hear about you, and maybe some men that have lost their true north in their compass might find us and find you and find that compass point to head towards. We do all these things and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Man. All right, guys. See y'all next Tuesday.
A to the
Or-
men. Good night.
I'll be
Good
here.
night, my friend.
So
I'll
long.
be here.
So
Good night.
long, farewell.
Farewell.
Auf
Let me
Wiedersehen.
just say
Goodbye.
Adieu.
I
Adieu.
never watched any
You
show.
and you and
show
you.
I don't know what show tunes are. Climb every mountain. Anyway, I will be talking to you guys in Discord, I am sure. I appreciate you guys more than I can articulate. So, you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will
You
talk
too.
to you later.
You
So
as well.
long.
All right, stream. Thank you, whoever is here. Again, if you are not part of my Discord, or want to talk, want prayed for, want to know what prayer is, want to know anything like that, I may not have all the answers, but I'll find them. I will look for them. And if you need prayer, I'm here. So if you guys hit the like button, all that stuff, the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Again, I have some ideas for some smaller content. I need to start pulling the trigger on some of that stuff. But I love you. I appreciate you. And next week we'll be back, and hopefully we can keep honoring God in it. God bless.